Hey guys, it's Denise from Mission Bound Creations. Today I want to show you how to loom knit a dress, and it's a simple project, and some of you already know how to loom knit a hat, but in case you don't, we're going to start from the very beginning. You need your flower loom and your nice thick yarn, and we're as usual going to do 2 strands because that's how I like to do my projects. And we're going to start by wrapping our yarn around the anchor peg. This is the way I do it. Some people will do a slip knot and others will just do a different kind of knot. This is what's easiest for me, and I just hold on to it for a bit, and then I just start with the peg to the right and I just start to wrap, and I let it go, and it hangs tight. It's all right there, so I don't worry about it. And we're going to go around twice before we start knitting. Okay, so that was the first time around, and here goes our second. You can choose to make this dress long or short. That's your option. I made a long one and a short one. And this part right here is going to be the same thing that you would do if you were making a hat. We're going to make a brim. Okay? And at this point, then we start looming. And I'm not one too big on counting. I would tell you, for me, the way I decide, you know, my brim is long enough is that when I've knitted up to this part right here, then I'm going to fold to make the brim, which will be the bottom of the dress. The loom knit dress. If you want it to be thicker, then you know, just loom it longer. For me, this formula works. Whether the dress is long or short, I like to give it that little puffy part on the bottom, and so that's why I like to make this little brim. Okay, so just continue to loom, and I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so hopefully you've gone around enough. It's about, I don't know, 8, 9 times that you're going to go around until, like I said, you reach this bottom frame of your loom, okay? And then you come here and you're going to grab this curly part right here, and you're going to bring it forward, okay? And you're going to grab those loops and you're going to put them over your peg. If you need more detail on how to make these brims, you can either watch my video, How to Loom Knit a Hat Easy, or you can go to loomahat.com, and right there you'll find a video, and you'll also find a picture tutorial that you can work with, you know, at your own pace. Okay, and it's probably a good idea to watch that before starting here, because I might go a little fast. Okay, I let go of the thread that was on my anchor peg, and it's here now, and I'm going to just hide it in there. Okay, that's what I do. You can leave it out if you want, and cut it off later, or whatever works for you. In this particular project, I like to just take it and hide it in this little bottom part of my dress. Okay, so by the time you're done here, you should have no loops left. They should all be in pegs, and every peg should have 4. Okay, should look like this. All right, like I said before, I don't push mine down because I got to bring it back up, so I just leave it midway and I start. Like every brim, this is a little tricky. These tend to sometimes be really loose or really tight, and these really tight. So best thing to do is to just, if it's loose, hold on to that top one while you bring the bottom one up. Okay, see, sometimes it'll even come off. And with the flower loom, These pegs come off really easy. They're meant to do that because the projects you normally use to make, the projects you normally make with the flower loom actually need these pegs to be able to come out. Okay, so you're just going to keep doing that until you've gone completely around, and there's your example that they do come out. So just hold on to them while you bring this up. Now this is a little problematic right here, but this is the only part that's going to be tough like this. After this, they're going to be pretty loose, and there's not going to be a problem. You're going to do these with great ease. Okay, this is just that bottom part right there. I'm going to bring it up and just hold on to it. It's actually a good thing that this is happening to me, so that if it's happening to you, you understand it's no big deal. Just push the peg back in and keep rolling. Okay, you're going to start again to wrap your yarn. Okay, and this one here is going to be tight. Okay, no biggie, just do the same thing. And then at this point, now you are knitting the dress. So you're going to have to decide. You can either do about 24, 25 rows to get a fairly decent long dress, or you could do like I do and you can get your Barbie. I always use Barbies that I'm going to recycle. These go overseas to orphanages, so usually when we start, their hair is all crazy. Okay, so what I do is I take some rubber bands and I tie their hands down and their feet together, and I just put them in as I'm knitting the dress, and I figure out how long I want the dress. Okay, so I just keep knitting and knitting and knitting, so that you find the length. You need the dress to have the top here. Okay, so if you want the dress at the knees, then just that's where you're going to put your loom, and you're going to keep knitting up from there. I prefer to make my dresses long, so I leave the flower loom down over the feet. I like hiding the shoes, and then I just keep knitting up until I get right here, okay, to this, I don't know, collarbone part, okay, because that's how high it's going to have to go. So just keep knitting, loom knitting, until you get to the length of the dress that you want, and we'll be back. Okay, so hopefully you've loom knitted from your brim up the length of your doll, and my doll was a little wider than I thought. I guess she's one of my cousins, and so I had to bring her arms up and tie them up here. It looks painful, but Barbie can handle it. To be able to put her through my loom and figure out how long I wanted my dress. So this is my indicator that I've gotten as far as I need to go. And now I can pull her out of the loom and take this string and bring it completely around, okay, because I'm going to need to let this go, and I'm going to cut right here. Okay, so I take my yarn, and that's how long I needed it, and I cut it off. And I take my Barbie and I bring her out. And in my particular case, like I said, she's a little thick, so it was a little hard. Okay, so now I know I have the length that I want, and I'm ready to take the dress off of the loom. So I use these Susan bait. This one's a little bigger than I would want. It really needs to be smaller, but it's the one I have right now, so it's the one I'm going to use. And you thread your yarn, and then you're going to get your dress off your loom by taking your loops off of the pegs, okay? And this is how you do that. Just get it off and gather, get it off and gather. And like I said, it would work much better if your needle is not so big, so you don't stretch your yarn so much. Okay, so keep doing that until you've got your dress off the loom, and keep gathering, and we'll be back. Okay, so hopefully you've gotten your dress out and everything is okay. You fed your yarn through your loops and gathered them and pulled your dress out of the loom. And just so you know, this is not the kind of dress that you're going to take off and put on the doll. It's the simplest dress I know how to make. I don't sew and I don't knit or crochet. I only know how to loom knit a hat, and so most of my projects are based on that. And once you put this dress on the doll and you've tightened and knotted the dress, it's there. It's not a put on, take off, dress up dress. If you want to do that, then starting from mid back, just loom back and forth. Don't loom completely around, and that'll leave you an open area, and you can put a button if you like there, and that can be make it an on and off dress. And at that point it has to be a strapless dress, because once you put the pom-poms, that's not going to work either. Okay, here's a little trick. All my projects up to now, I only do the E-wrap, which looks like this. So just to give myself a different look every now and then, I'll pull my project inside out. In fact, that's how I make most of my hats, because I like that look better. And in this dress, it might be a little hard because it's a long dress. But when you pull it inside out, that E-wrap takes on a different look. And so I wanted to give you a tip of the day. And the tip of the day is that you can turn your knitting projects inside out and get a different look. I happen to like this one very much. And again, I used a very thick yarn, and so there's not a lot of openings. It's nicely fit. Okay, so I stretch this out so that I can get my doll in it. And I get her in this way, which is easiest for me. You have to figure out what works best for you. And you just basically feed her in, okay? Make sure her feet don't get caught in between. And just bring her all the way to the top. And try to have this part right here in the back. Okay, or anything that you did that looked funny, it didn't come out quite right, then just take it to the back. All right, and then you're just gonna tie this nice and tight back here, and you're gonna create a knot. And then to keep your doll from looking squared off, right, this one is nice and fit, but if you find that your doll was a little too squared off, just take a piece of yarn and tie it right here. It'll give your doll a nice shape, and you won't see it, I promise. Just one string of yarn would do it. Okay, so tie it real tight here. Get your 8 pom-poms and come back. Alrighty, so you get your pom-poms, and if you're not sure how to make a pom-pom, I have a video on how to make tiny pom-poms with a fork. But if that doesn't work for you, just wrap it around 3 fingers and pull it off and tie the middle and cut your loops, and that becomes a pom-pom. Okay? Get your thread and thread one of them, okay, with your needle, your yarn needle, and start on the side right here and pull it through right there. Okay, see that? I pulled it through there, and the one that I didn't yarn through with the needle is sitting here, and I'm gonna double knot. that pom-pom onto the dress. Okay, so it's double knot there. Don't cut this string off. You actually need this string for the pom-pom that you're going to put here on the shoulder. So you have 3 pom-poms here that you're going to do the same way you just did this one, which is to thread one of the long strings through one of the loops and then tie the 2 longest strings together. Okay, your pom-poms should have these 2 long strings. When you tied them in the middle, these 2 long strings, leave them long, okay? And if you want to shape your pom-poms before you put them on the doll, that's fine. Or you could just do it when it's on. I do both. I shape them a little bit when they're off, and then when they're on the doll, I shape them some more to make it real puffy. Just the lower you cut your pom-pom, or the puffier, the denser the pom-pom will look. Okay, so once you've put on those 6, which are 3 in the front and 3 in the back, come back and I'm going to show you how to do a shoulder pom-pom. Okay, see you back. Alright, so hopefully you've attached your 3 pom-poms here, your 3 pom-poms in the back, and that you haven't cut these strings because you need them for the shoulder pom-pom. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to use the string of the back one and the string of the front one to tie that shoulder pom-pom. You could leave it like this if you want. I like it better with a shoulder pom-pom. Okay, so this has 2 strings and there's 2 strings here. So just grab one of the strings and double knot. And it gets kind of crazy because they all start to look the same and you're wondering, you know, where is that long string? But if you leave them long enough, you can find them pretty easy. Okay, see, like that. And tie them really tight and bring them as close as you can because it's just going to look neater. And right now it looks kind of crazy because I fix my pom-poms when I'm done. I'll put a little paper cover around the rest of the dress because I have a brown dress with white pom-poms. So I'll put a little cover around the dress, and then I'll start cutting and cutting and cutting until my pom-poms look the way they like, the way I like. If you like them like this, then great, you're done. If you don't, then you can start shaping them. Okay, watch, like I said, you can watch my video how to make a pom-pom with a fork. And that's going to give you a pretty good idea. So there's your project for the day and your tip for the day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.